Who's the most hated driver in NASCAR history?
Who is the most hated driver? Probably. You know what? I'm going to surprise him with this. He may not even know who the hell I'm talking about. I'm going to say John West Townley. And second most hated driver in NASCAR history would be Stephen Wallace. But if you're looking for the most hated popular driver, I would be on the lines of Danica Patrick or Bubba Wallace. Hard to pick which one. They both seem to get a lot of hate. Yes, answer that question. You don't leave me standing here.
Oh, most hated driver in NASCAR history. That depends on how you look at it. I definitely believe Danica was up there. I don't think Danica definitely is probably the most hated. Probably more hated than Bubba, but I probably maybe close to you on that one. Oh, shucks. I don't think Kyle Busch will be the most hated, and I don't even think Denny Hamlin will be the most hated, in all honesty.
No, not at all. DW, he got nicknamed Jaws. He was not a very well-liked driver.
They are the villains that people enjoy and look for because they missed it when Tony Stewart played the guy to pretty much say however was on his mind, and Kyle Busch was basically that guy. And Kyle Busch kind of still is that same guy for the most part, and Denny Hamlin's pretty much been that same guy too because, I mean, look at his podcast. He openly vocalizes what he says, so...
Yeah, he's not afraid to say anything. I think that was the same reason why Darrell Waltrip was hated so much. He was Jaws. Like, he had no problem saying what was on his mind. Rusty Wallace was not a very well-liked driver either amongst people because Rusty whined all the time. The reason why I said Stephen Wallace is, of course, he's the son of Rusty Wallace. And it's just in some of these father-son combos, people don't feel like a certain driver deserves the respect. And Stephen was kind of a bonehead and got himself into several incidents. Now, John West Townley was there just because his daddy owned Zaxby's and could write the check. And we know that we're not going to sit here and disrespect a man who got murdered in his own house by his wife's boyfriend. But I think he kind of, you know, whatever happened with John West, it unfortunately happened, right? He wasn't a very well-liked driver. He wasn't a very good skilled driver. And I think that seems to be the note when you put the greatest of all time, the most hatest driver, the driver that has been the most disliked, I should say. I'm sorry. It would have to be probably a toss-up between Danica Patrick and Bubba Wallace. And I think probably Danica Patrick would probably get the most votes on that. Very interesting that would be a question, Jared. Hopefully we answered that to the best of our ability. Look, Bubba Wallace has a whole following, and I don't think that we should down our female followers by Danica Patrick being the butt of all the jokes. But even a lot of the women of NASCAR and the girls that followed it kind of felt that way about Danica because she was quick to show her chest, but she wasn't in a bathing suit, but she wasn't that great out on the racetrack. And I think that created a lot of animosity, a lot of there was definitely at the time Joanna Long. There's been several female drivers that probably had more talent than Danica and just wasn't able to get that kind of ride. I think Bubba Wallace, a lot of the hate from that started from a simple incident at Talladega a few years ago that got taken, misinterpreted, and used as political gain, just as another driver lost his career because of a dumb reporter that said, "Let's go, Brandon." Unfortunately, politics can have a major influence in the sports world. And, you know, I think that Bubba suffered from that political divide. and Brandon Brown suffered from that. And in the time of his most important victory, finally getting a win at Talladega gets turned into "Let's Go Brandon," which we all know is really F. Joe Biden. And that literally destroyed that guy's career. So not to fall too far off topic, of course, the question was, who is the most hated driver in NASCAR history?